Hello and welcome to another episode of the Two Jews, 10 Opinions podcast. I'm Ailee Shanes.
I'm Levi Diamato.
We are so happy to welcome you back to another episode, our fourth episode. And we really appreciate all those who listened to our last episode as well. I'm really excited to talk to you guys again. I just woke up from a very, very nice nap, a nice Ailee Shanes annual
How
trophy time.
how long have you been back?
Oh, to South Florida.
Yeah.
I came back to South Florida Thursday night. So I've been here
Oh,
since
okay.
Thursday,
Okay.
which is about, I don't know, like 4 days, 4
Okay.
days. Yeah, so I've been chilling here. I still got schoolwork that I gotta do, which kind of sucks, but I'm like slowly but surely getting all that done. I have just a few little projects I'm working on while I'm here. I'm applying to internships, so it's a whole thing. Levi, are you still in Gainesville?
Yeah, I'm going home tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I just had a few things to take care of, so wanted to get those done, but now I'm done with all my schoolwork and yeah, we're gonna try to keep doing the weekly episodes even through the break. We're gonna do our best, you know.
Yeah.
Um
I'm gonna
and
be in Boston next week, so it might be a little bit tough. If
yeah,
any of
yeah.
y'all are in Boston and want to meet up, just make sure that you're
What are you
not like
doing in Boston? What are you doing
me
in
and some
Boston?
boy me and some boys are going, and we're gonna hit up some of the the historic spots, the Boston Harbor, the Freedom Trail. It's gonna be a good time. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna hit it back, and check out some cool little sites, So really excited about that coming up. And yeah, what's your winter break plans, Levi?
Yeah, so first of all, I Boston, obviously I hate all the sports teams from Boston, you know, but and I make jokes because my parents went to Boston University and they met
My dad
there.
also went to Boston University.
Really?
Yeah, he went to
That's
BU.
well, we'll have to talk after about what year or whatever,
I
because that
think
would
it's
be
like
crazy.
95, I
Like
think.
I don't know, I'll have to check, but and so they met there, but obviously, you know, I grew up New Yorker, so I'm like, you know, I hate
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's
Boston.
that's freaking
Yeah.
awesome.
But it's a cool place for history. I mean, if you
Yeah,
love history, like I love when I was a kid, I loved American history
yeah, me too.
specifically.
Oh,
So,
absolutely, and especially that time period of like the American Revolution and the
for
Revolutionary
sure.
War. It's like I, for fun, like would buy like textbooks of that stuff. Like just because, because I just like loved it. But I'll tell my dad about your parents because I know he'll get a kick out of that. And also two of my friends who are going on the trip are their parents are also BU alumni. Go Terriers, Terrier hockey. So yeah, that's really cool.
That's cool. Okay. Oh, okay. I don't know if anyone saw the viral video of these people being questioned in Congress.
Yeah.
It
The
was the
president, I think we got MIT, it was Penn, and it was Harvard. And Penn's president resigned.
yeah.
Baruch Hashem, thank God. Um,
Yeah.
and
Crazy answers. They were very easy questions to be completely
yeah,
honest.
no, and it's just so I was listening to NPR as I do, and they had on actually it was turned over to the BBC News Hour, and they had this rabbi on, and they were kind of asking him like, this rabbi was on like Harvard's anti-Semitism board, just like
Mm,
kind of like combating anti-Semitism. And he says, because these college campuses have aligned themselves with these kind of topics, right? With like racism and Islamophobia, and not being perpetrators of it, but always like speaking out about it, and like George
of
Floyd,
course, yeah. Of
civil rights
course.
issues, they kind of got themselves into like a very tricky situation here, that they have to now condemn anti-Semitism while at the same time the people who work there and their whole student body is very anti-Israel, inherently anti-Semitic, and so they're trying to kind of make both work, where they're like not being anti-Semitic while also not trying to like quote unquote cave into like Zionism or whatever you want to call it. And it just seemed like you could tell, right? They had lawyers who were making sure that like just read from the script, like don't say anything that's not from the script, because if you say anything That's in like that. If you say anything else, then we're gonna be in trouble here. So it was very disappointing, very disheartening. And then like SNL made like a skit about it, and I was really
It
making fun
was
of.
hilarious, wasn't it? SNL.
No, it was not hilarious at all. I that guys, that was Levi being sarcastic.
Yeah,
By the
yeah.
way, shout out Levi.
SNL. Been a while since it's been funny, but that one
Yeah,
especially not funny, I would
there.
say.
No, there's times where SNL is still funny. It was the Adam Driver hosting episode, and
The
that one
undercover
was
boss Star Wars one.
yes,
That was a
that
good
one's
episode.
a classic one.
Well, my
Um,
favorite one is have you watched Papyrus, the one with Ryan Gosling?
no, no.
Okay, I encourage everyone listening to stop the podcast or not stop the podcast. After you listen to our whole podcast, watch Papyrus on YouTube.
We'll link
I
it in the comment. We'll link it in the bio.
sure, yeah.
We're always gonna
Um
hook you up with that great content.
back to the college campus thing. And maybe we can link a clip of a soundbite of the college testimony because it was like a
Yeah,
2 minute clip.
let's turn it over right now to one of the clips.
Ms. McGill, at Penn, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's rules or code of conduct? Yes or no?
If the speech turns into conduct, it can be harassment. Yes.
I am asking specifically calling for the genocide of Jews. Does that constitute bullying or harassment?
If it is directed and severe or pervasive, it is harassment.
So the answer is yes.
It is a context-dependent decision, Congresswoman.
It's a context-dependent decision. That's your testimony today. Calling for the genocide of Jews is depending upon the context. That is not bullying or harassment. This is the easiest question to answer yes, Ms. McGill.
After this hearing, which like went viral on the internet and everything, a lot of outrage about it, rightfully so in my opinion, as we've talked about. But she released a video a few days later that was apology, but kind of an apology. Anyway, then after that, she just was basically like, "Okay, I'm out," and resigned.
Yeah.
Just rightfully so, of course. The others haven't resigned yet, so still waiting on that. As far as the University of Florida, well, this isn't really a campus thing, but as I was talking to you before we started recording, I was walking in the main street at our university, and on every street sign, lamppost, whatever you call it, like posters, boycott posters. And I was some of these boycotts, I'm going to be totally honest with you, don't really make sense to me. I don't even know that it's a list of a lot of companies that for various reasons. One of McDonald's gave free meals to Israeli soldiers. Disney Plus gave $2 million to Israel. Pepsi owns an Israeli company. And then it says a whole list of things: KFC, Hardee's, Taco Bell. Listen, I never saw Taco Bell once in Israel. I hope that they will bring Taco Bell to Israel. It's a great place. But I've never seen
at that too would be nice.
Yeah, that would be a little bit hard.
KFC.
KFC.
You can make anything kosher now.
It's just absurd. I mean, you have to stop and you have to ask yourself, have you ever seen this action for any other conflict in the world?
No.
And people always say it's whataboutism. But it really is insane. And now we can go into the UN because it just becomes clearer and clearer every single day that the UN is just extremely biased against Israel.
Yeah.
And you can call it that for whatever reason it is. If it's just because most of the countries in the world
and I want to pull up something real quick to show so our audience really hears something about the UN that really one of the whole kind of narratives for against Israel and against this whole war is that killing Palestinians, even Israel's not even targeting civilian Palestinians, they're targeting Hamas, and it happens to be that Hamas is positioning themselves in places where civilians are centrally located, which is a war crime. that is a war crime. One of the whole things is that killing Palestinians is just going to cause more radicalization against Israel. Okay. But here's the thing is that you already have 76% of the Palestinian population who already supports Hamas and already
Well,
supports
where are
Hamas.
those? What is that data?
This is according to Arab World for Research and Development. That's a wartime poll.
A wartime poll. Okay.
Yeah, that was a wartime poll that they put. 75% of Palestinians support the terrorist massacre of October 7th. Let's just get that in there right now too. Radicalization. People weren't being radicalized because of what Israel was doing to them over and over and over after October 7th. This happened before. This what happened. This has been happening since Israel was becoming a state, and radicalization has, in a lot of ways, children are being radicalized through their school systems in Gaza. I mean, like you've seen, like in textbooks and what they've been teaching their students about history and all that stuff. Even so, there are people. So the United Nations, they set up schools in Gaza. That they have like UN and schools and stuff like that. There are United Nations teachers who call for the murder of Jews, and that's revealed in a report.
There was one who was holding hostages in
Yeah.
his house.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry to jump the gun on that if you were going to get to that in a second.
Exactly. They straight up call for the murder of Jews. They are the ones. The United Nations is the one that is radicalizing, which is basically, and some people even consider so the UNRWA.
It's Relief's work agency for the Far East or something like that. I don't know the exact how that works, but anyway, yeah.
So basically, yeah, they're setting up those schools, and it's basically indoctrination through the UNRWA. And yeah, people are basically saying, yeah, it's basically an extension of Hamas at this point. And yeah, and they're literally, like you said, you had one UN teacher who held hostages. There are others who are literally calling for the murder of Jews. So this is a report from United Nations Watch. United Nations Watch is a
NGO monitor.
Yeah, it's a nonprofit to hold the United Nations accountable. So yeah, they did a report and they found that let me just get into the specifics. So they said basically teachers in schools at the UN agency that runs education and social services. And if you hear my dogs in the background, that's my bad. That's Puck, who's really, really crazy. Social services for Palestinians regularly called to murder Jews and create teaching materials that glorify terrorism, encourage martyrdom, demonize Israelis, and incite anti-Semitism. That's revealed in a report by 2 independent research and monitoring groups. So that was, again, the UN Watch and Impact SE. It was presented to the U.S. Congress. It basically considered new legislation by the House and the Senate to cut funding for the UNRWA. And so yeah, it covered 47 cases of incitement by UNRWA staff. It found 133 UNRWA educators and staff who were found to promote hate and violence on social media. An additional 82 teachers and other staff affiliated with over 30 UNRWA schools involved in drafting, supervising, approving, printing, and distributing hateful content to students. So the UN is really, really, really I just wanted to, I know it was a lot, but I just wanted to show how the UN is not this independent organization who's going to be the people that you're going to rely on for the unbiased, the objective information here, right? Because their own educators are radicalizing Palestinians against Israelis here. It's just ridiculous. It's a whole thing. And Levi, what's the stuff that you wanted to bring up?
Yeah. So, I mean, I can get to the condemnations in a second, but I want to stress that it's not only what I've been really getting into actually lately is I've been researching the Rwandan genocide and how the United Nations failed to act in that situation. So that was 1994. One of the most horrific genocides we've seen recently, and the most horrific part was that it lasted just a few months, and 1 million people were killed in a few months. And the United Nations just completely dropped the ball. and you can look into this more because I don't want to go so much into it, but there were so many warning signs about inflammatory speech, and there were United Nations peacekeeping mission force in Rwanda at the time, and the mission was a complete failure. They failed to prevent the genocide, and then when the genocide happened, they basically fled, and they let it happen. And we see this happen over and over again when in Gaza, but also in Lebanon. There's a peacekeeping force in Lebanon, in southern Lebanon. It's been there since the late 2000s, 2008. And basically, the idea, and by the way, the UN peacekeeping force in Lebanon has a budget of $500 million a year. And the idea was after the Second Lebanon War that Hezbollah, the terrorist organization in southern Lebanon, would be deterred to a border so that there could be a buffer zone between northern Israel and Hezbollah, the terrorist organization on the southern border.
Yeah.
I mean, in southern Lebanon. And the UN peacekeeping force, at that time, Hezbollah possessed just a few thousand rockets, under 10,000. Look at where we are, 2023. Hezbollah, around over 100,000 active members, over 100,000 rockets, and they're nonstop firing rockets into Israel right now. The UN peacekeeping force in Lebanon, nowhere to be found. The UN is a failure in every peacekeeping operation that it tries to carry out. Going back to what they're condemning at the UN when they all meet and they condemn Israel 140 times since 2015 over the same period, and this is from 2022. So this isn't including the new resolutions. Since 2015, 140 resolutions, 68 resolutions against every other country in the world. Now, you can tell me whatever you want about Israel. I mean, we can have conversations about condemnations that Israel is deserving of, but you cannot look at me with a straight face and tell me that it deserves double the condemnations of any country in the world right now. And the other day, the Secretary General of the United Nations made a big, he said that he's invoking Article 99. It's a bunch of word salad. It doesn't really do anything, of course. The UN doesn't do anything, but basically, it's just like a ultra condemnation. And he said, I've never issued this article in my time as the Secretary General of the UN. May I not remind the Secretary General of the UN, there is a civil war in Ethiopia that just killed 500,000 people. There's been an ongoing war in Yemen. There are wars in Syria, ISIS. I never saw Article 99. And it's almost incredible that people still deny that the UN is just clearly biased against Israel. It's crazy.
And not only that, but like you saw the video of the pro-Palestinian protester who climbed up that the poles, I think maybe it was in New York or whatever, and was taking down the US flags and also the UN flags. And this is one of their other tactics too, is that there is an incredible bias against Israel in the United Nations, like we mentioned, and in the mainstream media as well. And basically what their tactic is that no, it's the mainstream media that has a bias against Palestinians and against Gaza and against Palestine. And it's the UN who has an innate bias against Palestinians and against Palestinians and their cause. It's just madness. It's just madness. And that's their tactic. It's turning to what we're bringing proof of. And then it's no, it's actually, it's actually us that's getting the short end of the stick, or sorry, them that's getting the short end of the stick. And it's it's freaking ridiculous. And speaking of the UN also, I don't think it was till very recently, till maybe a month and a half, 2 months after the October 7th massacre, that UN women, women would actually condemn Hamas for the brutal rape of women and children during the October 7th massacre. And it's just ridiculous that they waited so long. I mean, for every other case like that, they would go, it would be snap of their fingers in an instant. But when it comes
Of
to
course, of
Israel,
course. Yeah.
it's like every single rape, every single act of sexual violence is horrible in this world, except if it's to Israelis. That's just, it's sickening to me. It's so
And
sickening.
these cases of sexual violence are well documented, especially at the
Yes.
music festival. Many eyewitness accounts, and currently, right now, I just need to remind everyone, because we're just now a little bit 2 months over October 7. There are a number of women, young women, between the ages of, I think the youngest at 17 and late 20s, 30, women who are still being held captive in Gaza right now. You can
Yeah.
only imagine what is happening to them right now. And we saw, if you've been following this current round of conflict, you maybe saw the video of there's a woman, she's 19, a girl, not a woman, named Naama Levy. Have you seen that video?
Yeah.
It's been
You're talking about
everywhere.
the article that her mom wrote.
Her mom just wrote an article in the free press. If you wanna, we can link it into this
I think the free
podcast
press is in our Israel Hamas war
resource list. Do we
resource
have a
list.
resource list on
Yeah,
our?
I've been posting the I've been
Really?
posting the resource list for every video so
Oh,
far.
okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, an image of a girl being dragged out of an SUV with bloody pants. It's just horrific. And the idea that these images do not evoke such, and now I'm going to pivot into something, because we've been seeing a lot of outrage over the past few days about pictures of captured Palestinians in northern Gaza. There's a lot of discussion over that not all of them in the picture are terrorists. Regardless, this is a pretty standard thing that happens when you're conducting a
100%.
war,
100%.
especially a counter terrorism situation.
Yeah.
Then, if a reminder was that the northern part of Gaza was originally ordered to evacuate, and so when you have military aged men that are remaining in northern Gaza, and when the military is conducting operations there, if you capture those men, you need to check them, insure them, and arrest them if they are Hamas members.
They've been
And
releasing the ones who aren't. I mean, let's think of what would happen if it was the other way around, right? First of all, they're not even killing these Hamas members; they're just imprisoning them, and obviously they're going to use them for interrogation.
of course,
But,
yeah.
but think about what it would be. Let's flip the script, right? If it was if Hamas invading Israel and they would do the same thing, they wouldn't even let anybody survive. They would kill them all. Maybe they would have a few hostages for bargaining chips, let all of them die, no matter if they were innocent or if they were Jewish, Arab, Muslim, whatever, doesn't matter. And again, it's a lot of whataboutism, like you said, and we don't want to get too into it, but I mean, come on, that's what's going to happen.
Well, it's just, I mean, this is a war, and people appear to be surprised when they see images of war.
Yeah.
And this is just a capture of people, and the fact that they are stripped down to their underwear is, I mean, let me not remind you that Hamas is very notorious for using suicide vests.
Yeah.
Very notorious. They've conducted many suicide bombings in the past, from the very start of their organization. So the fact that those images I see it all over Twitter or X, condemned as these are images we'll look at down the road. And for all the images to come out of this war, these are the ones that you fixate on is pretty shocking to me. I remember in the first episode I spoke about, when I was talking about the atrocities on October 7, I said, we're not going to go in depth into them because, those are on the internet. You can read articles if you want. The atrocity, it's ongoing. And you spoke about psychological warfare. You know about the Bibas family, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for those who don't know, there's a family, the Bibas family, mother, father, a 4-year-old kid, and a 10-month year old kid, and all of them held hostage in Gaza. None of them have been released. Hamas has been publishing a lot of psychological torture videos, and going off of just things that aren't condemned compared to things that are condemned. They released a video that no one should watch. It's the father of the two babies, little kids, and it's hostage videos. This is what they're doing, and I think it's important to say this because maybe a lot of people aren't aware of this. They're releasing videos of hostages, and they're forcing them to speak out against the government, say all this thing, and they tell him in this video that his family was killed. They tell him this in this video, and then he blames the Israeli government on the video, and it's just the most horrific thing. And this is ongoing. There are over 100 hostages still in Gaza, and I don't see any people offering. It's one thing to criticize the war and offer solutions, say like, I think that Israel should do this in the war, but when someone says ceasefire now, the instant response is, what should Israel do? And there's no answer that's given. These are the most horrific circumstances I've ever seen for a country to operate in, ever. I mean, this is just horrific. And for the interview for this episode, which I guess we're segueing into right now, we spoke to Alon Cohen, who I know I worked at him with him at summer camp a few years ago. He works in a search and rescue battalion, and we wanted to hear about the things he's been involved in. He's been to far where was it that he went to?
It was he in Kibbutz Be'eri?
Be'eri. He went to Be'eri, one of the kibbutzes that was attacked in October 7. He's been to a lot where the Houthis have been firing missiles, hit a kindergarten. No one was there. So we wanted to hear from him about what's going on. Also, just in the center of Israel, he drives an ambulance for when there's missile alerts. Because I'm not sure people are aware that, yes, Hamas still is firing missiles, and some of them are indeed landing. Not many of them, but some of them actually are landing, and the missiles do actually kill people. They don't kill many people, thanks to the Iron Dome, the missile defense system. But the Iron Dome is the worst PR that Israel has ever gotten for itself, because I genuinely don't think people are aware of the fact that over 10,000 missiles have been fired into Israel. I don't even know how you can deal with that number. 10,000 missiles.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just insane to me. And 10% of them fall in the Gaza Strip before making it out. So
I think
that's
it's like
another
a higher percentage, no?
So usually it's 10% for these rounds of conflict. It's hard to, with the amount of missiles that we've been seeing, it's hard to get like an accurate number on what it is, but people have been saying that it's higher for this because now that they've exhausted their main missiles. But
yeah.
They just 3 days ago released a new propaganda video where they said that we have new missiles, we're going to turn Tel Aviv into destruction and liberate Jerusalem, whatever they said. Doesn't seem like an organization that's intent on ceasefire. They may want the other side to cease firing, but I don't think they have any interest in ceasing their fire. So yeah. I guess I'll end there. Sorry for the little rant there. I mean, what do you think about that, what I just said?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. The biggest thing with this whole ceasefire thing is that people want a humanitarian ceasefire, meaning that they want to have pretty much a permanent ceasefire so that people can bring there could be more humanitarian aid going through the Rafah border in Egypt to help help sustain these poor people in Gaza, because they're starving. They don't have water, and they don't have a lot of electricity there, and look, it is so bad, and every single death that is happening is so tragic. and it's horrible. But here's the problem here that I think people are really turning a blind eye to, is that all the humanitarian aid that goes into Gaza, Hamas takes it for themselves. Multiple videos,
Right. This is well
have
documented.
come
Yeah.
out, and I could link a few in the bio. Multiple videos of people coming forward in Al Jazeera interviews saying they take the food and they take the water and they take everything to the shelters, and they do not give it to the people. They do not. They keep it for themselves. They hoard it, and none of it goes to the people who need the most. So that's why a humanitarian ceasefire is ridiculous. Another reason why the ceasefire is ridiculous is because Hamas broke the ceasefire last time. 15 minutes into the ceasefire, and yet Israel still let
They
the
broke
ceasefire.
it 50 minutes into the ceasefire, and then 1 hour before the ceasefire ended.
Yeah.
They just
So
had to like get their little in before the ceasefire ended, you know?
exactly, 100%. And also, a big thing about yes, every death is tragic. Every death is tragic. But here's the problem again. Like I said before, Hamas loves civilian deaths, loves them. It's their bargaining chip with the West to say, hey, look at Israel. They're targeting civilians. Israel is not targeting civilians. They are targeting Hamas. Again, I'll say that again and again and again until
Yeah.
people
Yeah. Well, that's
freaking
their playbook. And I
yeah.
mean,
It's the
it is,
terrorist playbook. It's a terrorist.
and it is working. Their playbook is working.
100% working. Look at the college campus here. It's working. And
Right. Well, the
and I
college
want
campus is a whole different thing because that started right after October 7th.
true. Yeah.
Um,
That's true.
but
There's
it
one
is
more
working in terms of even the U.S. government. Now there's a
now,
timetable being issued.
now there's more pressure on Israel, and what I've
Right.
heard is that Biden is planning on talking to Benjamin Netanyahu to possibly to get rid of Hamas by, or to at least end the
Well,
whole operation to get rid of Hamas by the end of the year. But what the one thing that I want to kind of like
not the I should clarify, not the end of the operation, but this high intensity phase that we're seeing right now is they're planning on it ending towards the end of December,
okay.
which would be great news
Mm-hmm.
for everyone.
No, 100%
Yeah.
true. But here's the thing though, is that yeah, like I think people are looking at these large number of civilian deaths, but I think people are always just forgetting that this is a war. I mean, are you kidding me? Civilian deaths are inevitable in a war. Look at Germany, look at Japan, and you don't see anyone complaining about that intensely high number of civilian deaths in those cases, because those wars were extremely important, right? No one was like you got a lot of
Yeah, I
people
mean, more German civilians were killed by the British than British civilians killed by the Germans.
yeah. So I mean, look at that. Like I mean, total like complete cities were wiped out in these war operations. And so yes, death is tragic, war is tragic, but again, civilian deaths are going to happen. It is inevitable. And also, the numbers that are coming out about the civilian deaths, they are reported from Hamas. I don't trust Hamas for a second. They have continually lied time and time again about.
There is, there is like but there is the discussion about that. But it's unclear to know. You know, I don't know. I hesitate with that because yes, I'm not keen on believing the Hamas numbers.
Yeah.
But like, but I am. There are obviously thousands of civilians have been killed,
Yeah,
but we don't know the exact number. But
Levi, like I'm not saying that there aren't thousands of deaths.
yeah, okay,
I'm not debating that at
no,
all.
yeah.
But I want to know the numbers after the fact from people like from independent people, from people that I would rather get the numbers from like the UN or like the Red Cross than like Hamas. No matter, even though like the UN has the bed these past couple of weeks and months. Yes, there's thousands of deaths. Let's not dispute that. But it's a war, okay? Civilian deaths are inevitable, okay? And I just want to that was the last thing.
Well, it's just there's a way to stop the war. I mean, wars are the responsibility of, if we analyze this just in this context of this since October 7th, as I think you should for this case, because there's always going to be layers and layers of history. So if we just analyze it like this, terrorist attack, invasion, ground, by air, Hamas started a war. The responsibility, of course, is with them. Now they are losing the war. The responsibility to end the war is with them.
Is with
That's
who?
all. It's
with
with
who?
Hamas.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the responsibility to end the war.
Mhm.
They're not going to, of course.
Okay, so here's the thing though, is that people always say, well, okay, well, the war didn't start on October 7th. It started in 1948. And there's something specific I want to say to that, is that they're basically saying that it started beforehand, right? It wasn't a war. I mean, and look, right? You could say all you want about Israel's treatment of Palestinians. I get it, but they're basically using that as a justification for terrorism. This was a complete blatant act of extreme terrorism, and no matter what the case is, there's no excuse for terrorism, not a single bit, no excuse whatsoever. And this was not just terrorism, this was a massacre, and that itself is an act of war.
Yeah,
I would
mean,
say.
there was genocidal intent.
Yeah, Israel would never do that. Never. In a time, would never start anything up like that. Never ever. And
I will say, regarding the sexual violence that was committed, there is such a lack of sexual violence that has been committed by the IDF that you can look this up. There's been a paper written at a university saying that Israel, it shows that the IDF is racist because of the lack of sexual violence. So that's all I have to say about that.
They're just trying to throw things at a wall and hoping things stick. And look, Israel's not perfect. They do things that are pretty up. Let's just put that. Let's just say that right now.
Of course, yeah.
But Israel, the country of Israel itself, puts people who in their military who commit war crimes, who may do something that is against international law, and they persecute them. They do that all the time in Israel. They care, and the fact that people believe that Israel doesn't care about international law, and there's a very good article on CNN that I'm going to put in the bio as well. There's gonna be a lot of things in the bio, guys. A lot of resources. So there is Spencer Gard. Spencer Gard is a scholar and expert on urban warfare. And he has written about Russia and Ukraine, and is an expert on that type of field. He wrote an opinion piece on CNN. It's titled, "I'm an expert in urban warfare. Israel is upholding the laws of war." And I want you guys to really look at that, because this is a really important article. So yeah, it's just.
I'll read the article as well. Yeah. I haven't read that article.
I think we've gotten over a wide. Okay. If you don't see my hands are going wide, a wide variety of topics. You ready to turn this over to the interview?
100%. So I'd like to introduce Alon Cohen. He goes into it more in depth in the interview about what his role is, but essentially he's search and rescue person, paramedic, looking for, in the kibbutz, he was specifically looking for anything pretty much, because everything is burned to the ground. And he has some pictures that maybe we can share. But Alon Cohen, I met him at camp. Great person, and I really hope you guys learned something from this interview.
Alon, just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from in Israel, what you do, and tell us a little bit about your background.
I'm Alon, and I'm from Nes Ziona. It's a small city next to Tel Aviv. I've been with Levi 2 years ago. I've been in summer camp. I traveled there, and then now I'm in Israel. I've been in the search and rescue unit in Israel. I've been there in the army for 3 years, and now I'm doing the military reserve also there. It's called the יחצה, יחידת החילוץ הארצית, and mostly it's like everything that related to rescue in buildings, it's our job to do it. When I was in the military service, I was in a new unit called Sayeret Alon, like my name actually. It's like the special unit of search and rescue. We've been like 10 to 15 people, and we had our own cars. Everything that happened, if it's earthquake, a parking lot that fall down, like a building that just collapse for no reason, and all the rockets, it was our job to try and come and search and rescue and look for survivors and everything like this. I've been in the last operation in Gaza, Shomer Chomot.
2021.
In 2021,
Okay.
we didn't enter to Gaza, but like actually our job was one of the hardest because there was lots of rocket in 1 week, and we had to travel every time to a different place. We had to get to a rocket. I also been in a place that the rocket fell straight on a house in
Where was that?
Rishon LeZion. In
Rishon
Rishon
LeZion?
LeZion, there was one woman that died, and we were supposed to. We came there, we saw her body, and we continued to search and rescue for the. And actually, we didn't find nothing. We came with dogs and everything. We had dogs and drones. This is kind of the thing we did. My job was also to talk with the community. I remember I've been like I need to talk with policemen, with the neighbors to find out if there is more people. Actually, after a few hours, apparently there was 2 illegal residents that been in the basement that were stuck there for few hours. Took them out. So like this is one thing we did.
Could you shift more into on what you've been doing in the past like 2 months?
So this is our job in the army. Now I became to a unit called the Israeli Search and Rescue Unit.
So it's
And
like a different unit than the one you're
yeah,
in the
yeah,
2021.
it's like
Okay.
the unit I've been is like for the normal military service, it's only 15 people, and now I get to a bigger one. It's like but it's still the best unit from all the reserve units. I woke up in 6:30 in the morning in 7 of October, and I woke up from like alarms that start in my house. I came to the basement, and because I was like in a minute cold, I had to go. I think like 1 hour after the alarm started, I came to my base, and we start to take place in like in the middle of the Israel, in the center, and to start be ready for rescue over there. Our job mostly was to move with the cars in the cities and like be ready for every rocket that come to Israel or to fall on people's houses. We come over there, we look for people that abandoned, people that get hurt, everything like this. And we're ready for something bigger. If there is a bigger rocket, if there is a big building that fall, so we start in rescue operations. If it's breaking walls and lifting rocks. So mostly I did it for 1 month, traveling, sometime in Rishon LeZion, sometimes in Beit Shemesh, next to Tel Aviv. I did it for 1 month, mostly came to places. I've been in one time in place called Kfar Nasi. I think it's a small village. There was a rocket that fell next to a house, mostly ruined everything there. Like with the luck, we came there straight ahead, and with the luck, it didn't hurt the house because the house didn't have any basement. And we came to the house, we got out the people, and mostly just looking around, seeing there is anyone else in there. And mostly was damage to cars and building. And it was so lucky because 1 meter ahead and it was ruin all the house and the people in. I have lots of people in the rescue unit that did morphine, like they been in there was a hit in buildings and things like this. I didn't have a chance to be in these occasions. 2 weeks ago, actually more, 3 weeks ago, we went to Eilat. Eilat is Eilat is so far from Gaza, and you like, why the hell we need to go to this place? It sounds like the quietest place it's supposed to be. But apparently over there, I felt like the most meaningful because right now we don't have only rocket from Gaza. We have a war in all the borders of Israel. We have a war from the north, from Hezbollah in Lebanon. We have a war in Gaza, of course, and we got rocket from the Houthis. The Houthis, Yemen, that control Iran, and they start to throw ballistic rockets on us. Every one of these rockets is like so big with tons of bombs in it, and it can ruin full buildings. And the problem is that all Eilat is full of people from the kibbutz next to Gaza. So they send them to Eilat, and then suddenly we get rocket from Yemen that can ruin all the hotel that they live in and can ruin their life even more. So we been there. We had one time like an airplane without a pilot. I don't know how you say it in English.
A drone, I think.
Huh? Yeah,
like a drone.
Yeah, kind of a drone that hit in a school. They probably aim it to this direction. It got
a drone
actually
from the Houthis came into Eilat.
So this is the thing. We have lots of protection that was concentrate in Yemen. And what happened that the drone came from Syria, inside of the skies of Jordan, and got from the other direction that we didn't expect to, from Syria to Eilat. And it was very surprising, and this is why it succeeded to get into all the defense force. So it hit the school one
Did it
time.
hurt or kill anybody? Did that in that attack?
So there was a lucky thing that half an hour earlier, all the children went back to their homes. So it didn't hit anyone. It just ruined some of the walls. So it was very lucky. And we had some rockets from Yemen that fell, like every time get to us, there is an alarm. And until now, there was nothing happen. It's like we have the Hetz rocket. It's kind of the arrow rocket in English, like Iron Dome that control like for ballistic rockets. It can get outside of the atmosphere, and this is the first time we use it. Until now, it's working. Also, my mother worked in it, so I'm very, very happy. It worked. I always say to her, "You save us lots of work." We did this, and after 2 weeks in Eilat, we came back to the center, and then I'd been in kibbutz Be'eri, that it's one of the kibbutzim next to Gaza. Mostly our unit was there all the time, like from the second day of the war. So our unit started to go. In the beginning, it was to picking up dead bodies. And after a few times, it's like getting more for searching. For me, I was supposed to go looking for a dead body in the second day. It was our mission of our group, but our commander didn't want us to do it. I was kind of disappointed, but he has a point that it's like it's very hard thing to do. In the beginning, there was so many bodies and so many horrible things to see. And I have friends that did it in the other groups that telling terrible stories about the thing they saw, the amounts of people they saw, also the amounts of terrorists. There is like 3,000 terrorists that cross from Gaza to Israel. It's amount that we never imagined. And just in Israel, we had like 1,500 terrorists that we succeed to stop them. So it's like 1,500 bodies that surround everywhere in this area. And it's terrible. And like it's such a big amount. So it's like bad smell and everything. And like it's getting worse in every day. And my unit was mostly her job was to look after survivors, because what's happened that they don't just shoot them, they shoot them, or mostly they just shoot with a gun, like a big gun that has a firebomb in it. So they shoot it to houses, and then people in the houses had two choices: or to get out from all the smoke and the heat and get shot right in the second that they get out, or to stay, and mostly they just burn alive. There was in Be'eri, the kibbutz I been, they collect like lots of people, a few dozen of people from the kibbutz, put them next to, I don't remember what building, and just burn them. And it's like images from the Holocaust. It's crazy. And the problem in this is now that there is 40 people that you don't know if they are kidnapped, you don't know if they are dead, you don't know nothing about them, because all maybe their bodies like burned totally and you don't find nothing. And this is the problem here now, that one of the jobs that my unit does is to look for these 40 people that still after 2 months you don't know what happened to them.
So the 40 people you're saying, is that those are people from Kibbutz Be'eri?
No, it's from 3 places.
Okay.
Some of them from Be'eri, some of them from Kfar Aza, and some of them from the party in Nova.
Okay. The Nova Festival,
the Nova
So-
Festival.
Alon, do you think you could just kind of, you're talking about some of the things that you saw, but can you describe maybe any specific details that really shook you? Anything real hyper specific that you could tell us? I know that you can't really tell us everything because I know some things are confidential, but is there anything that you could tell us that really, that really kind of shook you, if you're comfortable with that?
Yeah, I can tell you for what I saw. I came 2 months after most of the thing, like the 7th of October, like 1.5 months. So most of the bodies and the dead thing were gone. My mission was kind of to look for, I don't know, pieces from the people that are missing. And our job was to come to houses in Be'eri that got completely ruined and burned, and look for like in the dust of the house, look for something. Mostly we had to clean up all the rocks, the rocks from the roof, the stones that don't relate it, for archaeology, to clean it and try to find in it something. And the thing that was very hard for me, that we came to a roof, and you see, this is a roof of someone that was like ceramics art and teacher, and all the roof was full of like glasses and plates and so many things that like years of like work that just mostly ruined, and we try to find a few that survive, but you just see how much like effort and like how much humanity there is in this person that died in this house, and it was very hard for me. So this is like one thing. Also to see the amounts of houses that get ruined there. You get on the roof and you see like tens of different houses that all the same burned and ruined. You see like a tank, marks like on the grass. There is a green and beautiful grass and a tank, and like you see so many holes in the walls from guns and pockets from the bullets, and it shock you like what a crazy war just happened in such a peaceful place. It's a big dissonance that you feel all the time.
You just went there like for the one, they sent you there for the one day.
Yeah, I've been there for one day.
Was there any, has there, when you were there, did you make any, learn anything about the, like the 40 people that were, because you said 40 people unidentified. Did you guys learn anything about any of those people or no?
Actually, so we had like it's kind of a weird thing to say, but one of the people in our group, she had the job to in the unit that looking for these people, so she kind of show us, and there is like you hear the story of people that like one of them was waking up in the morning and try to protect the kibbutz, and people saw him on the golf cart. After a few hours, people saw the golf cart was like burning, um, was full of fire, and like they don't know what happened to him. So or they burn it in the golf cart, or they like took him to Gaza as a injured or dead body, I don't know. This is one man, and there is also, yeah, this is, I don't remember so much all the details of the rest. There is also like a video of 4 people that Hamas took them with their hand tied on their back, and then after a few hours, like after this happened, they saw 3 of them, like 3 of the bodies and 1 missing. So you don't know what happened to him also, if they took him, if they killed him, if you don't know. So it's like, it's kind of because you don't know what happened to all the people that now are in Gaza. Hamas don't tell us these people here and these people not. So it's make everything very confusing.
Are those people like that you just mentioned, are they on the list of hostages, or are they just on a separate list, like a missing list?
So there is no list of hostages.
Well, there's
Uh,
like, no, but there is like around, like there is an exact number that's
there
like
is a list
used,
of
you know?
hostages. There is lots of videos that Hamas or the terrorists or the civilians in Gaza took of hostages, and they combine it and they fund it, and the army succeed to get that there is 240 hostages in like 2 weeks ago, but it's not something that you surely know about it. Like there
Right.
was one girl that was, they said she is kidnapped in Gaza. After this, it's Emily, if you
Emily
heard of,
Hand.
yeah. And then they told, they found out that she is dead. And then like they told her father, they did the Shiva and everything. And after a few weeks, they told, apparently she's not dead, she's still in Gaza. So it's not something reliable. It's mostly information that you like see videos and see evidence, or now there is 6 people from that was hostages that because of the information from the people that came back from Gaza, from the hostages. So you know about 6 person that they thought they are alive, and now you know they are dead. So it's kind of it's not Hamas tell us we have this and these people, and we put them in picture. It's like some of them might be dead, some of them might be alive, and this is only the one that we have evidence. We have one that, like, you don't want to say something, someone is dead, even that you feel probably he is, if you don't have a clear evidence for it. So there is like now 138 hostages, but still 38 from them are people that miss, not from them. Still, you have 38 that missing, that you don't see them, not in the number of people that are dead, not in the number of people that like kidnapped, but it's still kind of something that will increase the numbers of this or this, and it just make it even more hard.
Alon, I want to ask, how are you doing through all this? I mean, after all that you've seen, all that you've experienced over there, how are you doing mentally? Are you and other reservists being set up with people to talk to, counselors, therapists? I mean, what is that kind of like for you?
I can say that for me, I had I don't know if it's luck, but I suffer much less than like I think most of people. There is so many people that lost friends and lives, and like people that they care about, people that been in the Nova Festival, people from the kibbutz. So I think they have more support in lots kind of way, mentally support. We have like in our unit, every evening we have a talk. Everyone say what he feel likes, and sometimes it's very helpful, because if you feel something and this is your place to share what you feel, I have the luck to be with people that I can talk with them all the time. Actually, when I get out from the army to home, I found out that in the homes the people are much suffer, because they see the news 24/7, they feel the pain 24/7, and they feel like they need to do something, and there is not a lot to do. So it's kind of a weird situation of dissonance. Like, you feel a different that, for example, I've been in Elat, and Elat is like a beach place, super beautiful. You see the mountain, you see the beach, you see the everything, and in one point, like, I've been like, I don't know, shopping or been in the beach, and in second point, I met like because I walk with uniforms, I see a woman that says, "Ah, did you know someone?" She gave us a name, and she was very stressed, like, to know what happened to him, because she's from one of the kibbutz from next to Gaza, and she saw us with uniform. He was a soldier, and she was so traumatized that she was, oh, they are also with uniform. They must know him, even there is like hundreds of thousands of soldiers. So in one point you feel like very normal again, and in second you have a rocket that comes and everything changed. So it's like it's kind of a weird situation that you learn how to live with all these changes. For me, I think I didn't took any psychological treatment or something like this,
Have you been
but
on social media?
yeah, I've been in social media.
How's that?
Yeah, I saw lots of protests and things like this, and like it's for me it's crazy. It's like show how much fake news and so much hate there is in the world for no reason. How many people doesn't know the facts? I mostly doesn't upload stories and thing in Instagram, and since the war they started to upload much more because you feel you must. It's like the little thing that you can help with the few friends you have from out of Israel, and it's kind of a sucks because you hope you know you're right, and like it's scary that you know as a Jewish that people just hate you because you're a Jewish. I have a friend that supposed to start next week to learn medicine in Italy, and there is like a group chat in Facebook of all the people that's supposed to learn medicine from in Italy and something like this for question, like the most normal group ever, and it's just like the the group chat picture is like the flag of Palestine, and it's all like talking politics, and like he's scared of hell. He think maybe he doesn't to give up his future just because he's scared to be a student in a place like this. And it's not like he doesn't go to Egypt or something, doesn't go to Iran to study, go to Italy. It's crazy that we need to fear now to be in places in Europe, in United States. Yeah, it's kind of shocking.
I don't know if you've heard, there's a lot going on around social media and other reports that during the October 7th massacre, right, when the IDF was fighting the terrorists and stuff like that, a lot of the civilians in the kibbutzim next to Gaza, they were killed because of IDF fire, of IDF, I guess, killing civilians, and that type
I
of information going around. I mean, is that
this is
something that
this
you've
is
heard of?
something I didn't heard, but it's nonsense. It's it's outrageous to hear this because it's like we didn't kill civilians in Israel. We didn't try to. They came with a kind of maybe I don't know. Maybe there is a few like people that got hurt from both sides, and it's only because all the soldiers from Hamas came with Israeli military uniforms. So it was very confusing who is good, who is bad. Most of the stories you can hear that they say we had people that came with 40 soldiers, we came to them, and then they start to shoot at us because they were Hamas terrorists. Um, no soldier tried to kill any civilian in Israel. Never. It's not something that people meant to. It's not. It's nonsense and it's fake news. And the amount of people that died, it's because when you have 3,000 terrorists that come into non-armed children, old people, houses, and 3,000 people in a music festival, so they can shoot anyone, and it's very very hard even for the military to get in such a short time and to succeed overcome them. This is totally fake news, and this is supposed to treat this way.
I didn't know that about that you said that some of the Hamas had uniforms.
Yeah, most of them, especially the Nukhba
Yeah.
terrorists that it
It's like the
was
special like
yeah, they also had vest. Like they came prepared. They knew what they do in every step of this um, operation of them. They knew what they do. So the most of them came with like the uniform, and I know like every time like in the kibbutz when soldier came to rescue houses, they had to get the proof that they are really Israelis for they not entering. I know a story that someone saved like terrorist took her hostages and said to her, don't worry, I will save you from Hamas. Like he said, he's kind of a Badawi or like a people. I'm good. Don't worry, I will save you. And he tried to kidnap her to Gaza. There is lots of kind of this thing they did. Try to be like us to get more people killed and kidnapped.
Alon, what is I guess the healing process kind of like for people in Israel, and what are, I guess, the next steps to to heal the nation of Israel, and I guess to move forward from this.
I think there is no like one cure for this. I think we are also doesn't know so much. I think it's like sounds the hardest thing to do after this thing to move forward. But I think this is what we need to do. In the end, we need to continue doing thing we like, continue. I don't know, go to restaurant, help the people, and there will supposed to be from the government money help to people that need it, because right now we have like 160,000 people out of their homes in hotels in all over the countries. I hope they will get the money, and it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy. It's gonna be hard time financially, physically, mentally, and also to make sure people will succeed to come back to their home. We need to make this thing never happen again. We need to give a big strike to Hamas and to finish him, so people will somehow have the courage to come back to the kibbutz next to Gaza and to live there. And also, more important, I think, is to deal with Hezbollah in the north, because right now you have thousands of like tens of thousands of people from the north that's supposed to come back to the north, when you have Hezbollah there that is much bigger than Hamas, much stronger, with much more rocket and much more
More
even more.
everything. They have more everything.
Yeah, more everything. Yeah, and it's thing we need to strike Hamas also for the north. We'll see what happened in Gaza and will not want to attack us, and probably also to attack Hezbollah in some point. We need to avoid this. We need to let people in the north to feel free to come back to their home. And yeah, I don't know how much time all this thing will happen. I was supposed to start studying in the university like 2.5 months ago, 2 months ago, and right now I think maybe all this year I will not start studying. Like, you don't know, because they delayed it, because half of the people that's supposed to study are now in reserve military, and some of the lectures, people, some of the teachers also in reserve militaries. Like, you somehow suddenly see how everybody in Israel is kind of related to the army in some point, and when this war is happening, like, lots of the market is like shut down. So I don't know how much time it will take, but I hope after this people will feel safe enough to go back to their homes.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Well, I mean, before we wrap it up, Alon, is there anything else that you want to add, that you want our listeners to know about, that maybe we didn't touch on?
Mostly just wants to people to always like listen and search and know what's happening in Israel, and don't take any news that you find in TikTok, in WhatsApp and things like this as like the only truth. Even places, I don't know, like BBC and sometimes can be fake news. So check where the information came from. Know know the side of Israel because Israel is the most moral army in the world, and they just want peace. We all want peace. So Luis and whoever can help us spread the truth, spread the news, and to help us be over, help us in this war, because all the news and the world news intelligence is like not less important than the people that fight in Gaza. It's like you need to combine all. So just anyone that can help us to spread the facts, it's very blessing. And with people like this that make pressure on the government and the people around them, we can get the hostages back that we miss them, and we can end this war in the best way for everyone to feel safe again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I hope all those things happen.
All right, Alon. Thank you so much for talking with us. Really
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much. Thank you. I just want to say thank you so much to Alon. I know that he's been really busy. There was we were trying to work out the scheduling with all of that, and I also wanted to clarify that we did that interview a few weeks ago. That was, I think, 2 weeks ago that we did the interview. Just wanted to make that clear to the audience.
Mhm.
So yeah.
And we really hope you enjoy it, because I think it's a very powerful interview. So yeah, we really hope you enjoy it. We're gonna wrap up here, but first of all, it's Chanukah time, guys. Levi, do you have any like fun Hanukkah traditions you do with your family? I know ours is kind of just like we get like a little present every night. I got this really cool Spittin' Chicklets hockey jersey. If you guys don't know Spittin' Chicklets, it's a podcast from Barstool Sports. It's a hockey podcast from Barstool Sports, hosted by a few former hockey players and hockey commentators, and it's really awesome. I could link that in the bio too. And we're gonna go to my grandmother's house tonight to light candles. My grandparents' house, sorry. My grandfather is still alive. Thank God. Baruch Hashem. And it's gonna be fun. Is there any like traditions that you have with your family?
I'm a big latke maker. I
Yeah,
crank them out at like an industrial level. Like
nice.
I'll make like 100.
Like from scratch, or you like use like a
Like yeah, like I buy I go with my dad. I buy like potatoes, onions.
wow.
We chop it all up, do all that, lay them on the thing. So that's all we do. I will say I went to I'm not home yet, obviously, so I've just been lighting the candles with my friends for the first few nights. And while I was driving to my friends the other day, it was like go pick up the jelly donuts, the sufganiyot, and we went to Publix and they had one. They had
No way.
a box
Wait,
of
they have Sufgan Yot in Publix in
yeah. I mean
Gainesville?
that's what I was told, but there was a box of 4 like assorted ones, and then
Oh,
there was one jelly donut, and the guy was like, "I can just remove this one and give it to you guys," and it was like 4 of us. Um, so we cut up one between 4 of us, so we got the last one in all of Publix, maybe all of Gainesville, although I'm not ready to make that claim.
in South Florida, we've got a lot of like kosher stores,
Yeah,
stores. Their Sufgan Yot, man, it's like crazy. This stuff that they do here, it's insane. I love Sufgan Yot. But guys, I have a really important question. We'll end it off with this so you guys can interact with us a little bit more, and you can either DM us, either me or Levi on
yeah.
Instagram or Twitter, or you can just comment on your thoughts on the comment section here. What is your favorite topping on latkes? For me, I just like sour cream. I know people put applesauce, and I
What?
do. What?
You don't. I mean, I'm actually like applesauce, of course, but I've been kind of switching. Like, I like to use both, kind of, but
Yeah, I mean,
no
like
applesauce
sometimes
erasure is a little bit insane to me.
I like both, but like I'm not the biggest applesauce guy.
Yeah. Okay,
And
man.
yeah, so I mean, I just like sour cream, honestly, on it. That's my favorite thing to go.
All right. Yeah, we've gone way over, but thank you guys so much for listening. We got a lot of viewers on the last one. We hope to on this one. Leave us any comments, any criticism. Please leave criticism. I would love to hear criticism. So thank you so much, and Ailee, have a great day, and maybe I'll see you in Miami. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, have a great day.
All right.
have a great winter break and have a great Hanukkah to everyone as well.